Hello, and welcome back to Quest in Show, a play podcast where each week a new guest steps up to fix a broken kingdom. And it's a very special day because this will be the first returning guest from Season 1 onto Season 2 of Quest in Show. So, special guest, introduce yourself. Who are you? We've met you before, right?
Yeah, you have met me before.
Oh boy.
I'm ChariotRider. If you know my voice, you might recognize me for being the player that played Roland Ward, archaeologist historian.
That is absolutely correct. Yeah, you did come. You played the archaeologist Roland Ward, who very famously may have unearthed some truths about the Hemlock family and the history of Trostlyra. But before we get into those details too much, let's get into some details about you, because assuming that perhaps there may be some new people listening to this episode of Quest and Show, quickly reintroduce yourself. What would people at home know you best for?
So I run a YouTube channel called ChariotRider, where I do game design analysis and some other stuff that's less game design strictly, but more, just talking about games and some of the thematics around them. Mm-hmm. And that's my biggest thing that I've done. I also have a couple other smaller projects that I do occasionally, some game design of my own, and also a Twitter account where I post shopkeepers. That's mostly what I do.
I was about to say, that's kind of been a nice long-term project that you've been working on for a little while. Yeah, Shopkeepers of Games, which is kind of images and a little bit of description, right, about, well, kind of as it says, really, which is famous shopkeepers in role-playing games and other kind of games, right?
Yeah, so, I list their name and what game they're from, and I just, I've always very much enjoyed shopkeeper characters. There's a lot of variety in them, and I just think they're sort of fun.
Yeah.
So it sort of just catalogs shopkeepers from all sorts of different games, popular games, not popular games, weird games. Today I tweeted out the shopkeeper from I forget the name. It's the Wario Doomwad.
Oh, the treasure check shopkeeper.
Yeah, that little guy. The little cat guy with the one eye. I thought he was pretty neat.
He is pretty neat. I can say that from experience. That guy is neat. Unfortunately, I can't remember their name, though, which isn't very good.
I looked around for it, and all I could find was just shopkeeper, so that's what I put.
That's their name, then. That's what we'll go with.
Yep.
And it has been nearly half a year since you were on Quest and Show, so I guess what's anything changed in that time? Any new videos? Any exclusive content? Any big changes in the world of ChariotRider that we should know about?
So in terms of new videos, unfortunately there have not been too many because being a double major with a minor at school, that keeps me very busy. Oh, but I did put out a small, I was in a collaboration with my friend David OZ with the micro essay mixtape number 3.
Yeah.
But also I do have some upcoming projects. Namely, the big one is my Golden Record video, which will feature me and a bunch of other video essayists talking about what games they would want to put on a Golden Record of video games.
And just for kind of the people at home who may not know what that is, what exactly is the Golden Record?
So in 1977, NASA launched a pair of probes called the Voyager probes. And, they were, sent to look at the gas giants, but they're going to be sent out into interstellar space. And so on these probes, we decided to put a little record with a bunch of music from Earth, along with a bunch of other things. There's like 116, I think, images of just, Earth life, just some sounds arranged from like the earliest time chronologically on Earth. So it starts with like volcanoes and, moves on to like bubbling of the sea and then like onto life and then human technology. There's a lot of cool stuff on there. And essentially it's like if aliens ever find it, they can sort of get a small taste of what humanity was like.
It's a bit of almost like a historical document of Earth and what we were like and, what we had achieved, in the time between our, conception in 1977 when the probes were sent up into space, I suppose.
Oh, it really is. Even if we can sort of look back on it and, that's what we were like in 1977, but we've almost certainly changed in that time as well.
Absolutely.
Our music has gotten different. We've gotten new technology. We sound different.
Oh, yeah.
Humanity changes, but it's a neat little moment in our history.
Absolutely. So I think that it's very much a project that is in your wheelhouse, considering the fact that last time you were on Quest and Show, you played an archaeologist, a historian, someone who, wanted to uncover the secrets of Trottelera and the surrounding kingdoms, and this time I suppose you're playing a historian of a slightly different kind, right?
Yeah, so this time I'm playing Sylvester Strand, where Roland Ward was very much a character about unearthing the lost history. Sylvester Strand he's a historian, but of a different kind. He's more about preserving the current history so that it does not become something that needs to be dug up.
Which I suppose we could go into a little bit more detail as we get into the adventure proper. But even though, Chariot, you are returning to the podcast, and even though there have been slight tweaks to the rules, I think you have a pretty good idea of what to expect. But there may be a case where people at home, perhaps they're new fans of yours, Chariot. Perhaps they've popped up in the last couple of months and, they like your stuff and they've decided to listen to this episode of Quest and Show because you're on it. So, to those people at home, I will quickly explain that before we started, I asked Chariot to create a character sheet, a brand new character sheet for a brand new character in Quest and Show. And essentially, this is the person who will be going through and solving this episode's issue at hand. And essentially, they have a set of skills and expertises that, when it will come to solving a problem, may come in handy. So, in some cases, Chariot may reach a challenge, and if he is able to talk his way through it, that'll be absolutely fine. But there may be opportunities where, say, he'll want to take the advantage, say, barter for a better deal, or may need to defend himself against, perhaps, a combat encounter. And in those cases, Chariot will be asked to roll 2d6. Chariot, do you have dice to hand?
I do.
Would you like to do a lucky roll to see how things may go for Sylvester?
Absolutely.
All right.
I got a 4 and a 1 for 5.
Oh.
That's not a good. That's not good.
That is not a good sign at all. In fact, I should probably have checked to see what Roland had got before he started his adventure. So I don't know. I don't know if this bodes well for Paul Sylvester. But if, say, a 5 were to come up during the adventure, it might not be so bad because we may be able to factor in perhaps Sylvester's loadout, or perhaps if he's in a situation which is advantageous to him, we may add 1 or 2 to the final result. On the flip side, though, that 5 might get even worse if, say, Sylvester's been harmed, or, something about his expertise isn't quite right for the situation. Essentially, though, high numbers are good, and low numbers, well, considering you were on Quest and Show last time, you know what happens when we get low numbers, right, Chariot?
Oh, absolutely. Character building moments.
Exactly. They're interesting things happen, I always think, when we get low numbers. And the system and rules for Quest and Show are linked in the description below. Now, before we start, is there anything you would like to say before we get into the adventure proper?
Well, firstly, I would like to apologize to anyone with arachnophobia. you might not enjoy this character, and depending on how things go, there might be some spiders in the rest of the season as well.
Mm-hmm. If Sylvester gets what he wants, things may become a little bit more spider centric. But obviously, we'll have to see what happens.
Of course.
And obviously, as you've kind of said, any actions that Sylvester makes in this adventure isn't just going to affect this episode. It could affect all future episodes. We may be moving to a more spider-centric question show, but obviously we won't know that until we get to the episode's end. And so with that, if we are ready to roll, it is time to set the scene as we move to a land out of place and out of time. But not quite the kingdom of Trottelera, at least not quite yet, because we need to start somewhere else, somewhere which a kingdom a little bit beyond Trottelera, in fact, a kingdom which is a little less diverse than Trottelera, in fact, you could say that this kingdom is perhaps the last vestige of a particular species, a rather mysterious species in Trottelera, one which isn't super well documented in most parts. And I think with that, I'm going to have to turn it over to you, Chariot, because let's learn a little bit more about Sylvester Strand. Tell us, what is his backstory?
So, Sylvester Strand is a spider, more specifically a spider person, not, he's bipedal, but he has 6 arms. Mm-hmm. He is a white-furred spider, sort of like an albino, with 8 red eyes and a black silk suit. Ooh. And Sylvester works as a historian, a fairly prominent one within the Silk Spool Kingdom, a kingdom both of spiders and of spider people.
Yes.
He was brought up in the traditional ways of the spiders, which are very important to them because of their history. Many, many generations ago, the spiders used to live up on the surface, like most people tend to do. However, one day, a conqueror from another land, Conqueror Uriel, they refused to call him King Uriel. He came and, conquered them in battle and stole their land, and they were forced to retreat into the earth, which they would not, they would like to return to the surface one day. So, in an attempt to preserve what, their culture used to be, they make a big deal out of passing that down from generation to generation. So history is very important to the spiders, because one day they hope to return, and once again their old traditions can be reinstantiated. And maybe they can get back at the conquerors in some way. Okay.
So history is a very big part of spider tradition, and I suppose that is something that's quite important to Sylvester as well. I suppose that is one of his special skills, isn't it? His historical knowledge. But what other two special skills would you say that he has?
Well, in addition to having a very deep knowledge of history after studying it for many years of his life, Sylvester is also fairly good at persuasion. He has to talk a lot, to get, he navigates social circles.
Absolutely.
And doing this, being able to convince people to get on your side is generally a very useful skill, and one which he has taken great care to develop.
Of course.
And in addition to that, he also has a bit of a spider sense and awareness. Having 8 eyes and 8 arms, it's very hard to get a drop on a spider. They can see you coming. It's like, when you see something moving in your peripheral vision, you can tell, but their peripheral vision is much wider because they have more eyes.
Of course.
I don't know if that's scientifically accurate, but that's how I'm picturing it.
It's scientifically accurate for the magical world of Quest and Show, I think.
Okay. And so, generally, it's like when you go to hit a spider with a newspaper, they'll scuttle away really quickly. And so, it's hard to get the drop on him, and in defensive situations, he has very fast reflexes. Nice.
As well as those special set of skills that he has, what is something that perhaps is his special something? What separates him from the rest of the spider folk, do you think?
Well, Garcian, being such a prominent historian among, his people, he has taken on an understudy.
Oh, has he?
A young spider named Garcian Stevens, which Garcian, he's a young, eager but, not quite experienced spider who, Sylvester is trying to train in, the ancient ways, and maybe one day Garcian can take his place as a historian and cultural keeper.
Cool.
But he has a long way to go before that happens.
Still very early days for this hatchling, I would say. Absolutely. And finally, on a kind of a daily basis or when he has to do work, what does Sylvester usually bring with him? What is his loadout?
Well, I mean, one of the things is sometimes he does need to go up to the surface, which for the spiders is pretty dangerous, because elves and humans, they just sort of see them as beasts, so they attack them. But, having some gear tends to help a bit. So he always has some exploration gear that he has around for whenever he needs to go up to the surface. Some maps, some, rope, fire equipment, whatever he sort of needs for, expeditions.
Absolutely.
And in addition to that, he also has being a spider, silk. So, spiders naturally produce silk. Or I guess, it's like webbing. So, it's very versatile. It can be used for traversal, for swinging around, for, tying people up if that needed to happen. It's a very, very useful trait. And it has come in handy many times throughout his life.
Excellent. So he sounds very much like a man for a lot of jobs, mostly historical jobs, though, kind of anthropology and digging up bones and, finding out secrets of the greater spider culture, I think. But there has been a recent piece of, recent as in a good few months ago at this point, I would say, that may have got spider and spiderfolk interest a little buzzing. And that was the publishing of a book by an archaeologist called Roland Ward, which seemed to confirm what a lot of what you, Sylvester, had been researching, and perhaps some old history of the spider people, which is the fact that, as stated, King Uriel Hemlock chased out the Baron Bradley, who was an associate of the spider people, from the land which is now the Kingdom of Trottle Era. Even the old cave systems within Trottle Era had been converted into pipes and sewers by Gustav Hemlock about 200 years ago, which has further put a dampener on relations with the spider people. But there does seem to be a potential bit of claim that perhaps the Hemlock should not be on the throne, and it should be given back either to the Bradleys or their associates. So, what has Sylvester done with this information? What does he want to do with this information?
Well, I mean, Sylvester, naturally, he's grown up knowing a lot of this, because these things were sort of known within the spiders, but outside of there, there's some, it's not going to spread widely.
Of course.
But this has sort of, been a very important book to him because, now that it has been released and maybe more common people know about this, this is the spiders' best opportunity to make a move, to maybe reclaim their old ancestral homelands.
Right.
In particular, the Moondew Glade, which was a very sacred spot to the spiders.
Yeah.
And he hopes he can get that back one day.
So what is the Moondew Glade exactly?
So the Moondew Glade is the site of a communal ceremony that happened annually for the spiders. It's a beautiful, glade in the dense forest where there's trees and a, beautiful waterfall that falls maybe, I don't know how many feet, but it falls and it produces a nice mist.
Yes.
And, one night a year, the spiders will come and they'll create great tapestries of silk and web. And, the dew from, the night sky will glisten in the moon. And it is, it's a very important ceremony. The Great Weaving is what it's called. It's a very important ceremony to the spiders. And it hasn't happened for, ever since Uriel Hemlock forced the spiders underground.
Nearly a
literally
century.
and metaphorically.
Yeah. Oh boy.
So, this could be the chance to finally bring back that, ancient tradition, which Sylvester very much wants. After, decades of his, him and his people being, under the thumb of the Hemlocks and being, pushed around by them, they very much resent this.
Absolutely.
And, probably for good reason.
Absolutely. And with that, then, you have been granted an audience with the matriarch of your people, an Antme. She is kind of she is a mother of all spiders, essentially. Well, more so the mother of all spider folk. She is your mother, she is Garcian's mother, she is a mother of about 100 to 200 spider folk. She is a very important person, and with that, has a rulership over this particular plot of land. So, all big decisions have to go through her. So, you and Garcian are making a pitch to her. You are in her chambers, which is an enormous amphitheatre, essentially, carved into stone walls. You can see to your left and right there are etchings in the stone of spider history, some of it which does look like, which does recount the spiders being driven back by the armies of men, elves, dwarves, and beastmen during the Battle of Trotlera. But also within this room is about 100 to 200 eggs, which hopefully before the winter will hatch, and you will get some new brothers and sisters. But this enormous 60-foot woman is looking down on you, laying on her enormous thorax like a throne, as she listens to you and Garcian make their pitch. Garcian, who's keeping his mouth quiet for a moment because he wants to let you lead on this one.
Understandable.
Yes.
All right. Does she have a name?
Yes, Antme.
Oh, okay. You'd sort of cut out, so I missed that.
That's okay.
Madam Aunt May, I ask that you listen to our request, because opportunities like this have never before come to us, and may never come again. Recently, there have been some changes in the surface world, and maybe we can go out there and reclaim the old spider kingdom. And, I guess I want to make an expedition to the Moondew Glade. I don't know what's there, and, we need to see what's, it's been a long time since anyone has been there. So I'm asking you to let me go and see what's in the Moondew Glade, and maybe establish some sort of spider foothold if I can, or at least report back on whatever I find.
Yeah, enormous arm shift, almost kind of like a chittling sound, as you can kind of see her large head kind of roll back and forth as she mulls over the idea before saying, "You are right that there is a lot of opportunity here, Sylvester. But what I want to know is, how do you ensure that things will go smoothly, and that you won't bring torchbearers to our new spider kingdom?"
Well, madam, I plan on traveling light, stealthily, perhaps. You see, if we all rolled out and retook the Moondew Glade, it'd bring a lot of attention. And at the moment, I think it's just going to be me and Garcian. We'll travel as quietly as possible. Hopefully, and even if we do, make contact with people, we'll make sure that nobody really knows where we're coming from. We might circle around and come from a different direction just to obscure our footprints a little bit. We can travel lightly, so hopefully no one can find the nest.
So you are telling me that this is a diplomatic mission of sorts?
Well, who knows? I mean, maybe. The Moondew Glade is perfectly untouched, and it was quite remote. So maybe nobody has moved in there, or maybe someone has, and in that case, we may have to deal with somebody. And in that case, well, we can come to that when we get to that.
Very well, Sylvester. I will grant you permission to leave our kingdom, Johann Garcian, but, like I said, do what you can to gain some foothold in that kingdom, and then we will discuss what happens next. Do you understand?
Yes, madam.
Very good. She kind of scratches her arms together as... roll 2d6 plus persuasion to see if you can get anything extra to bring on this.
I got a 3 and a 4. 7 plus 1 for 8.
8. She kind of she doesn't say anything, but then Garcian speaks up and says, if we're traveling into the world of humans, maybe perhaps you should give us some gold though, miss.
Garcian, be quiet.
Aunt May looks at Garcian and then looks at you and says, I'm afraid any treasure you're going to have to find yourselves.
Understood, madam. We might even give some to you.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
This is, after all, for all spider people, not just the profiteering ones.
She kind of pushes herself forward. She's almost like suspended on the roof using her own webbing to kind of like support her enormous weight as she pushes her enormous face down on the pair of you, and she says to you, this is a very important job, Sylvester, so what I will say to you is, do carry this great power with responsibility. Do you understand?
Absolutely, madam. I will do it for the good of all spider kind and with the best of my own abilities.
And with that, she nods and rests back on her thorax as you two are left to start your adventure.
Okay.
So how would you like to go about making your way to Trotlera?
Well, so how long of a trip is this to the Moondew Glade?
On foot, you're looking at about a day, but you will have to travel through the city of Trotlera to get there.
Okay.
You do have, I'll say because of your background, you do have historical notes on the historic location of the Moondew Glade, but in the hundreds of years since the Hemlock family have built a city around where the Moondew Glade is, you're not quite sure where it is in relation to where reachable it is. So, do you want to roll 2d6 plus history to maybe have an inkling of where to start looking.
Okay.
Yeah.
I rolled a 2, a 2 and a 5, plus 1 for
An 8.
8.
Very nice. Something that has the importance of the Moondew Glade was likely going to be information that would only be in the hands of a select few, including the royal family, which, as you have recently learned as well from the book that was published and recent bits of news, ChariotRider is currently under new management of previously Prince Pratt, now King Pratt, who apparently is trying to make sweeping social changes, positive changes in the Kingdom of ChariotRider.
Okay. Though I doubt Sylvester trusts Pratt at all. Frankly, he doesn't trust most non-spiders.
Of course.
Because, for generations, they've sort of been profiting off of the land which was stolen from them. So,
sure.
He's probably not going to walk into, any big throne rooms asking for directions. But, knowing the general location and the general features, I guess they're going to pack their bags and head in the direction of Moondew Glade, trying to seem as inconspicuous as possible, staying away from roads, so they don't run into any other travelers, and sort of traveling through the forests. And one thing, that might help narrow this down is, there is a waterfall. So
yes,
the river, if they run into the, once they find the particular river, hopefully it will not take too long to find the Moondew Glade.
Absolutely. So you and Garcian are on the surface, and basically the moment that you leave the Spider Kingdom, Garcian won't shut up, because he's very excited. He has never left the cave system. He is only a couple of years old, so this is all very new to him. And one thing in particular that he says to you, Sylvester, is that so I didn't eat before I came out because I was quite excited about all the birds that we might see outside, and I was hoping that maybe we could catch some and eat some.
That's not a good idea. I sort of take a couple of my arms and put them around his shoulders.
Right.
You see, Garcian, these sorts of trips, anything could happen. For all we know, we won't run into any birds. So it is best to prepare early and prepare well, so you don't run into unfortunate circumstances. So you should have eaten. In that case, we can still catch birds, but even if they aren't there, we won't starve. Keep that in mind for the future. Prepare well and thoroughly.
Okay, but I have not brought any food with me because I thought that we could catch birds. Can we do that now? I'm pretty hungry.
Yes, we can catch some birds.
Is he pinching the bridge of his nose with one hand and crossing his arms with two others? That's excellent. So you are near a forest then, and you do hear the activity of birds up in the trees. Garcian's quite excited. He wants to do it himself, but obviously, he's only as good as he is. Well, perhaps you're a bit more of a seasoned pro at this. So how do you want to approach this?
Yeah, so, I think, I'm like, all right, Garcian, let me show you how this is done. And then I'll look for a bird to hunt. So, like what sort of birds, are we talking? Is there, eagles, or is this, robins? Do we what birds are sort of around? I'm looking out from, a treetop, I guess. I climb a tree and see
okay.
what birds I can find.
Roll 2d6 plus awareness, then.
10 plus 1, 11.
Oh boy. You managed to pull yourself up into the tree line then. This forest canopy is full of all sorts of birds. Robins, bluebirds, blue tits, swallows, all kinds of small birds. But there is also quite a lot of raptors, and quite large ones, in fact. But none of them are aware of either your or Garcian's presence yet.
Okay. So I guess like this is a good teaching moment for Garcian. So I'm like, all right, Garcian, you've never been to the surface. I'm going to show you how you catch some birds. It's like the small spiders. They catch their little flies and their webs, and we shall do the same. So like, I guess the plan is to find like a prominent branch that birds might be flying through, and to sort of make a bit of a web, and then maybe startle some of these birds, hoping that they all fly into this web, and we can catch several birds at one time.
Okay. Roll 2d6 and we'll add +1 for Garcian helping you and +1 for using your silk.
All right. I got a 6 + 2 for 8.
Excellent. You tell Garcian then to hop over to another tree as I guess you're kind of building almost like a kind of a net to grab them, yeah?
Yeah, sort of like a big net. Maybe a bit transparent so they don't quite see it. Sort of like glass, like birds fly into glass all the time.
That's very true. That is something that they do. You make kind of a large web between you and Garcian then. He's a bit annoyed because he thought that like this would be pretty instantaneous, but you have to tell him like, no, you kind of have to work with the currents and kind of wait for the right situation. And then eventually birds do start to stick against this thing, and you get about 1, then 2, then 3, then 4. Oh, Garcian's little eyes are lighting up as, he's never seen this much poultry before. This is very exciting. But there is a small complication, which is one of those raptors, which your silk is very strong, but their claws are very sharp. And although it hasn't caught the webbing yet, it has noticed that some of its smaller and weaker brethren are getting caught in it, which is leading it to think that perhaps there may be a snack nearby.
So, I guess seeing that, there's a raptor around who, sort of sees that, because like it might come and try taking birds from the webbing.
That's right.
I guess at this point, we've got a fair amount of birds here. I say we tear down the web, roll up our birds in
bird web
webs, poison them, or like we have like the little like it's like sleeping, like you bite it so it's still fresh when you go to eat it.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess at this point, me and Garcian might try taking down the webs to get the birds that we already have before the raptor can try interfering. And if it does, come, maybe we can, grab it with a couple of our, we have lots of arms to spare. So if it tries to do anything, we'll just grab it and, try biting it.
Tell you what then, you need to do this relatively quick. So roll 2d6. I would give you +1 for awareness, but I'm going to take -1 away for Garcian, because obviously he kind of has to... He's only as quick as his little multiple legs can move him.
Right.
So this will be a flat 2d6.
I got a 7 plus... well, plus nothing, so...
Just a 7.
7.
Then. Okay. You two do manage to come away from the tree, and you do manage to roll these fluttering birds into kind of like a ball. You are trying to, like, you do stick your fangs in to try and, like, poison them, but those things are squawking, and it has now raised the attention of that raptor, who is starting to circle above both of you. Garcian, unfortunately, thinks that all birds work exactly the same, so he's just kind of looking at you, and he's like, so are we gonna get that one too?
No, that one's too big. That one would destroy our webs. Our best bet with that one is to run. And failing that, grab it and bite it.
Okay. Roll 2d6.
Ooh. I got a 5.
Oh no. Your idea was to try and either run away from it or try and lasso it, yeah?
Yeah. Try to, like, get away from it, and if it tries to do anything, then, try grabbing it and biting it, or whatever.
You are more for the idea of, I'm going to run away from it then, so you start to put a bit of spring in your steps. You look back, and Garcian has lassoed around its feet. Garcian has now been picked up on a silk strand by this raptor.
Oh no. I imagine the raptor's not, like, terribly strong, so he's still, like, it's probably, like, struggling to fly away.
Garcian's quite light. He's like a...
that is true.
he's like a fluffy egg.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I guess at this point, I drop the bird ball from the bird Katamari.
Yes.
At the moment, and I yell out Garcian, and I'm gonna try grabbing him, and like cutting the web. With, something.
Okay.
Because it's not like terribly, it's not a terribly thick lasso.
Absolutely.
It's made quickly, so
yeah, of course.
Shouldn't be too hard to cut.
Roll 2d6 and we'll add +1 for exploration gear, because you'll probably have something to hand that could cut it.
Alright. 7 + 1, 8.
8 again, very good. You managed to grab onto Garcian's legs then, as surprisingly the strength of this raptor's wings pulls you off the ground a little bit as well. Garcian's just kind of looking down at you and he's like, "Hey, I weren't kidding, this is a pretty big one, huh?"
Yeah, that's why I told you to not get it.
This raptor is looking down, seeing that it now has 2 stowaways, and I think it's thinking that I'm just going to bat my wings enough to perhaps take you guys out by a drop. But you have managed to get your knife into the strands. The question is, though, it is going to be a bit of a distance to the floor, so you might either try and grab the tree line to break your fall, or maybe something else.
Yeah, so I guess at this point, how far off the ground are we?
20 foot.
24 feet?
20 foot, 25 foot.
Okay. And how far above the tree line?
About 5 foot.
Okay, so I guess my plan, which like I'm gonna say that, Garcian, all right, I'm gonna cut this string, and as we fall, grab onto a branch on one of the trees. It's our best bet.
Okay.
Don't fail.
All right.
All right, and then I cut it, which presumably will need a roll.
You cut through it. Tell you what, we will make this one move, but depending on what you get, there may be an interesting downside to this. So, roll 2d6 and we'll add 1 for sidekick.
Okay. I got 5 + 1, 6.
Oh no. Garcian needs a little bit of help to get to the tree line. You can help him do so, but you're going to be put in danger as a result. Or you can save yourself and leave Garcian to Garcian.
Well, I can't really leave Garcian to Garcian, because that's not going to end well. So being the more experienced one, I can take a hit probably better than Garcian can. So I'm going to try helping Garcian.
Okay, and the way that you help Garcian is essentially you give him a kick, which gives him the propulsion he needs to grab onto a branch. But by doing so, you have now pushed yourself away from a piece of tree. So roll 2d6 to see how harsh this landing is going to be.
9.
You are winded, so you take 1 harm from that. But otherwise you are, like... It will take you a little minute to kind of, like, get your bearings, but... Yeah, that's the result of that. One of your legs hurts, but you have 4 of them, so it's not that bad. Garcian is looking down at you, and he's like, "Are you okay down there, Sylvester?"
Oh, sorry, you cut out for a moment there.
Okay. Garcian looks down at you, and he says, "Are you okay down there, Sylvester?"
Mostly. About 7/8.
Okay, that's good.
Could have been a lot worse.
Sure. What should I do? I'm stuck in a tree.
Can't you just crawl down the trunk?
Oh, yeah. And that's what he does.
All right.
And so he comes to meet you downstairs then, underneath the tree, and he pulls you back up. That raptor, with webbing around its feet, has decided to cut its losses, and it has left the situation.
All right. And then the bird Katamari is still here, I assume. So I collect the bird Katamari, and it's a bit big, a bit cumbersome, but at this point, trying to string out all the birds, we'll just keep them in ball form.
Yeah.
Slide that in a bag.
Eat it. You could eat it like a big ball of cotton candy if you wanted to.
Yeah. I'll toss a blue jay or something to Garcian for a reward for catching his first birds.
Oh, jeez, thank you, Sylvester. As he just puts the bird whole in its mouth. Its wings are like flapping from between his fangs until eventually he just swallows it whole.
I will say that's a bit of an unorthodox way of eating birds, but don't choke.
You just hear a loud swallow. And also a loud swallow on that bird ball, but hey ho. You two managed to come out of the forest then, and you are on the outskirts of Trottelera City. You do find a path of water that is coming out. Unfortunately, the thing is, basically, this river runs through the walled city of Trottelera.
And so it runs through the city,
Mm-hmm.
And then comes out the other side.
Yes.
Okay. So I guess being a spider in town, it's a bit hard to disguise yourself. A bit hard to tuck away all of your legs and your face. Mm-hmm. So just walking into town, probably a really bad idea, because I imagine people are quite, they've been told spiders are mostly bestial, and that they'll hunt your cattle, snatch you away in the night and drain your blood. So I imagine most people don't like spiders, and we're trying to avoid that. So
sure,
I guess if we can sort of circumnavigate the city and just go to the other side and follow the river from there.
Absolutely.
That should hopefully avoid too much notice.
Okay. Roll 2d6 then.
I got a 5.
Oh boy. You two decide to then circumnavigate around the wall, and Garcian's like hopping up and down. He's like, I wanted to see the people. I wanted to go in the city. They can't be that scared of spider folk, are they? We haven't been here in years.
Garcian, they've hunted us for generations. Even if they aren't scared of us, they hunt us.
Oh.
We don't trust them.
Oh, of course. Yeah, no, fair point, Sylvester. That's why you're the historian, and I'm your mentor, right?
Yeah. That's why.
Yes, exactly. Of course.
That's the reason.
And you are circumnavigating a little bit, and you do start to notice that the river is starting to run out. There is a thick tree line, though, like forests which are even thicker than where that raptor was earlier in the day. So you're probably going to have to do a little bit of navigation to find where it is.
Okay. And I guess like pulling out my map,
Yes.
I double check like roughly where is it in relation to the city, noting major landmarks and bends in the river. To maybe get a bit of a better idea of where it is before we go into the dense brush where things might get a bit harder to follow.
Okay. I will say then that, yeah, the map does give you an advantage in this situation, but, like, you can basically trace from, okay, there's Trottelera Castle, there's, like, a clock tower, here's some industrial buildings and the like, and they all seem to be convening around where the waterways are for transport and for, like, generating electricity and stuff like that, until eventually, as it comes out of the forest, and it's almost like they didn't need to build walls to protect it because the thing is just, like, covered in bush, except, like, at this point. But, yeah. I will say roll 2d6 plus 1, because this map is going to give you an advantage in this case, to kind of, like, find the simplest route to there.
Okay. 3 plus 1, which
Oh dear.
really bad. Lots of character moments.
Yeah, lots of very interesting character moments in this. You grab a... Well, actually, I guess, like, I don't know, does Sylvester have, like, claws or anything? Like, whatever...
I don't know that much about spider anatomy. I probably should have researched this a little bit, but,
Actually, I just realized he pulled out a knife to cut that silk, so that's what he's using. He's basically... So he pulls that knife out and he essentially starts using it to hack through the bush. And Garcian is following behind him, like, as he does so. And Sylvester does manage to start pushing his way towards where the moon glade is. And eventually you do see something that fits the descriptions and the images of what was described to you so many years ago. But in the time inconvening, somebody has put a little cottage in the moon dew glade. How do you feel about this? How do you feel about this development, Sylvester?
Well, it's a desecration and a crime. This is an insult. Frankly, like, we should have expected it, but, they've never respected spider culture. So, it makes sense that they'd build a monument of industry on top of, this place of nature and our harmony with it. He's a bit, he's pretty mad.
He's sizzling, yeah.
I imagine he's like, you can.
I was gonna say, what does he say to Garcian?
Garcian, I've been going through history lessons with you and talking about the old days, the old days when we were kicked off of our land, and I want you to see what they have done. Where once we had beauty and harmony, now, well, there's that, built, it's an insult to us. No place is sacred to industry, and they've stuck up a cottage so they can live in places that should not be touched. And, I want you to remember this, because this is a pattern. This pattern has been happening for generation upon generation. Us under the thumbs of them. And this has never stopped. But this is what we can fight against. We need to show them that when they do this, they can't get away with it.
Garcian isn't responding. You turn around and he's not there.
Huh.
You were so entrenched in what they had done to this sacred land that you didn't realize on a 5 Garcian has disappeared.
Oh no.
Oh no.
I guess at this point, Garcian? I'm gonna like call out to him, like, Garcian, where'd you go? He's a fairly loud guy, so like I assume if he hears me, he'll call out. So like, not being too loud because like I don't know who all is around. I assume it's a fairly remote area, so I'm not worrying about that too much.
Of course.
But, I'm sort of like, yo, Garcian, where'd you go? Are you there? And like, I assume there's only so many places, because like we've been hacking our way through this very narrow,
of course,
or like, so I'm gonna, backtrack a little bit to see if I can find any clues as to where he went.
Sure. Roll 2d6 plus 1 for awareness plus 1 for sidekick.
Oh wow! So we got a 6 and a 5 plus 2 for 13.
Oh boy, that is a big success. You're going through the forest thick, and you're just like, Garcian, where are and you're like trying to find like any evidence of like where he might have gone. And there are some bird bones left of kind of him nibbling from the bird ball, which does start to kind of lead you back towards where that cottage was. And kind of, you have to go there a little bit stealthily and like, kind of keep your head low to sort of see what's going on. Bad news for you is, you're not the only people who have found the Moondew Glade. Well, I suppose you already knew that because there was a cottage there. But there is something interesting that you do see. There are 2 people currently washing themselves in the waters of the Moondew Glade in a little, in a crystal clear pond near the waterfall. One of them is a large beast man, and the other one is a green-skinned orc. And then you notice that behind the 2 of them is Garcian.
Like, is he talking to them?
No, he's sneaking up on them. But he hasn't got their attention yet.
I mean, frankly, I'm a bit concerned
Sure.
that Garcian's gonna do something stupid.
Yes.
So, but like, I also can't call out to him without also drawing the attention of the 2 people in the water.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess at this point, I'm gonna move fairly quickly. Maybe a little less stealthily, but like I'm gonna try catching. Like how far away is he from the 2 people?
Feet away from them.
Oof. And they haven't noticed him.
Not yet.
I guess. Maybe I have a better idea. So,
Hit me.
Garcian's sort of walking up to them, and he might serve as a good distraction for a moment, so I can sort of look around the cottage and see if there's maybe something I can, still keeping an eye on him just to make sure that, like, he's not going to get killed. But, like, seeing that, maybe I'll find something of use inside the cottage. Because I don't think I can stop him from getting their attention.
I can't stop Garcian, he's too powerful. When you say of use, what kind of thing are you looking for in this cottage?
I guess I don't really know what all is going to be in there, but
sure.
I can maybe set up some traps.
Okay.
Maybe set up some webbing that people might notice. So if people end up going into the cottage, they might be caught, and we will have the upper hand in a situation like that.
Absolutely.
So I'm gonna go set up some webs.
Okay. So first things first, you want to get into the cottage then?
Yes.
Okay, roll 2d6 plus 1 for awareness.
I got a 4 plus 1, 5.
Oh boy. You have a look around this cottage for anywhere that you can potentially break into, and it has windows and it has a chimney. What are you thinking? Do you want to try the front door? Do you want to try the windows? Do you want to try like something else? It's your call.
I think a window's probably a good idea.
Okay. Bottom or top floor?
I say top floor.
Okay. With your with your sticky spider hands, you climb the side of the building until you get to a window, and you notice that the thing has been left open to let a nice breeze through, and you let yourself in. It is a bedroom. Here's the immediate thing that you notice when you get in there. This room has been completely ransacked. The bedding has been ripped by knives, and what looks like their luggage has been strewn across the floor. As you are soaking in this scene, you don't quite realize, although your wits are a lot sharper than most, the fact that you're trying to keep you're keeping one eye on Garcian and an ear on him, and like also trying to figure out what the situation is, you do open yourself up to something that you weren't expecting. Something has jumped on your back.
Oh no.
Oh dear.
How big?
About the size of a very large human child.
Okay.
You then hear from outside, "Eep."
That doesn't sound good.
But
I guess at this point, I'm, with the thing on my back, maybe what I'll try doing is, I'll go back out the window and climb up to the ceiling, and then try wrestling whatever this is off my back with a couple of spare arms.
Okay.
Reaching behind to try to loosen their grip.
You want to try and fight this thing off then, and the way that you want to do it is by like using a bit of gravity and using your arms to try and pull it off, yeah?
Yeah, I'm more dexterous,
Sure.
probably than this thing's. Like, I can climb walls. It probably cannot. Maybe it can.
Maybe it can, you don't know that.
And then if I get to the ceiling, like, I can hold it off the ledge and, like, threaten it from a fairly good position.
Okay. But you said you wanted to try and do this outside, or are you going to try and do it in this room?
Like, I like, from the, from outside.
You're going to try and do it, so you want to try and escape out the window with this thing on your back and then try and, like, shake it off as you're climbing the wall, yeah?
Yeah,
Okay.
Pretty much.
Alright, roll 2d6 and we'll add +1 for backstory, because you are a spider person.
I got a 9 plus 1, 10.
Big 10, baby. And the intent was you wanted to try and get this thing off your back, yeah?
Yeah, like, maybe still, like, hold on to it if I can, but, like, get it off my back and get it in front of me where I can, grab it with all, or as many of my arms as I can spare, and maybe spin him up a little bit just to restrain him.
I will let you do that then. So, you manage to essentially, in one kind of slick move, you push on 2 pairs of legs outside of the window again, grab onto the frame, and then in kind of like a cool spin, you knock this thing against the wall, flip it around, grab it in your hands, grab onto the wall, and then start to use your silk to try and web it in place. First things first, what is the thing that was attacking you? It was a goblin, wearing light leather armor with knives. It is. I will say only because if you had got a 12, I would have said it would have dropped the knife, but it's still got a pretty tight grip on it at the moment. But looks like it might be a. Actually, I don't know. Roll 2d6 plus history, and I'll see if I can give you a bit more information about it.
I got a 5 plus 1, 6.
Oh, no, you do not get a read on this thing. He is wearing tribal colours and has got some knickknacks on him, but you can't get a... There's surprisingly, there's nothing in your history that mentions about goblins.
Yeah, we probably wouldn't have interacted too much.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely not. So, and this goblin is struggling. It is trying to get out of your grip.
Okay. Well, I guess while it's here, I'm going to ask it, like,
Mhm.
Who are you? What are you doing? What's going on here?
Roll 2d6 plus 1 for persuasion and plus 1 because you kind of have him in your grasp.
I got 9 plus how many?
2. Oh, so a nice big 11. Okay, this goblin has never seen like a creature like you before. Like, it's seen spiders before, but never so big and never so, like, humanoid, essentially. So it doesn't really know what to do. You asked it, who are you and why are you here, right?
Yeah.
I'm just with my great. I'm just here to rob King Pratt.
King Pratt? You mean Conqueror Pratt? The one Hemlock?
No, King Pratt, that's his name.
Yeah, his last name's
No,
Pratt Hemlock, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, where is Pratt at the moment?
He kind of makes a little head motion of, like, have a look.
Okay. Yeah, I guess at this point we can sort of see what's going on
Okay.
outside.
You've got this guy pretty nicely webbed to the wall, so you can kind of leave him there for a few moments as you go and check. You climb onto the roof to look down, and you get a better look at the two people who were in the water. One of them is a female orc, and the other one is King Pratt. Between them, almost like they're kind of playing with him, is Garcian.
Okay. How far is it from the cottage to the place where everyone is?
What, the place where they are?
Yeah.
About 20 foot.
Okay. I was gonna say, maybe I can jump down and wrap, essentially hop onto the orc person.
Right.
But that does not seem feasible.
No, you'd need to do some pretty intense running and jumping to pull that off.
But I do think it would probably be good, to run and help Garcian. So, being as quiet as possible, I'm just gonna scuttle up to this orc and grab them in my 6 arms and effectively do the same thing, do as much as I can to immobilize them.
Oh gosh! All right. Roll. Oh boy,
because
yeah,
they're doing something with Garcian, so
sure.
I'm running in to save this guy.
Oh, of course. Roll 2d6.
7.
Oh, that's a 7 then. Okay, you kind of look over the side to see if the goblin is still there, and it is still there for the time being. And you hop off the roof and you decide to start sneaking towards Garcian. We move the camera over then as Pratt is talking to Garcian and he's like, "Oh well, I mean, I hear that apparently there might have been spider people here a long time ago, but my old ancestor, Hemlock, he was a bit of a, he tried to bring all the nations together and all that, but he might have been a bit harsh on the spiders and all that, which, I mean, if I had the opportunity to do so, I'd like to, ease relations a little bit and make things, welcome to you guys too."
Oh, that'd be great. Oh, jeez. Well, I wish I could tell Sylvester all of this, but I don't even know where he's got to.
As he has a look around. The female orc who is sitting on the side of the water, yeah, you have now got her in a grab, which has caused both Pratt and Garcian to kind of stand up shocked.
Oh, so they weren't like, messing up or like fighting Garcian. But I still have.
Now you got closer. Yeah, that is the resolution of that. However, you weren't aware that was the case from where you were.
Well, yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
I'll roll with this.
Okay.
It's like, I got the orc person. It's like, all right, who are you two? Garcian, what's going on? Who are these people? This is Pratt, right?
Pratt, he's got me pretty tight. Help me. Listen, whoever you are, whatever you're doing, we don't want to cause any harm, okay? Whatever you want, whether it's gold or a title or whatever, just say, okay? We don't want to cause any trouble. Garcian's like, Sylvester, what are you doing? Why you got Prince Pratt's girlfriend in a chokehold?
Oh. You say you'll get us whatever we want. I'm maybe not being so intense, but I'm like...
Oh, I know, but it's just I just like the idea that you're now parlaying this into a hostage situation. Or maybe you're not, I don't know. We'll see how this goes.
It could be. I assumed she was with the goblin.
Oh, yeah, you haven't... Yeah.
It's a complex situation here.
Very complex situation. But anyways, that's what Pratt said to you, and Garcian's like, what are you doing?
Garcian, I was just attacked. I was on guard, and I saw you down here, and I wasn't sure what was going on. There was a goblin in the house who had ransacked all the stuff, and he tried attacking me, but, I got him clung up on the side of the wall at the moment, but, he might not stay for too long. Why don't you go check on him and tell me if he's still there? I'll deal with this.
Everyone looks completely confused as, like, wait, there's a, wait, what? Wait, what do you, but you've told Garcian to go and, like, see what's going on, yeah?
Yeah, just like, I told him he's, like, on the other side of the house.
Okay, roll a 2d6 plus sidekick, then.
Oh no, that's a 3. Plus 1.
Garcian nods his little head and he goes, oh, okay. Alright, I'll be back in a second then, Pratt. I just gotta check what's happening around the house, okay? But yeah, Pratt is, like, totally confused, and you caught him in a bit of a bad time. He's just down to his swimming trunks as he is, like, standing in water. And yeah, he has got his hands up because, like, you've still got your arms around, I guess, his girlfriend, really.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, and he's just kind of he's just, like, swallowing, and he's just kind of like, we didn't do any, we weren't mean to Garcian or anything, he sneaked up on us, he was wondering what we were up to, and like you said, I've never met a spider person before, so, we just wanted to hang out.
You just wanted to hang out, but, you did say something earlier, you'll give us anything. I mean, if it will help, if you'll let go of Susie, sure. All right, I'll loosen the grip and sort of like let her down. All right, fine. I'll let her go and we can talk.
Okay.
And so I let her down.
Yeah, no, you like kind of let her into the water, and she kind of like catches her breath. She's like looking over at Pratt, like, what the hell is going on? And Pratt's just kind of like, all right. Being king and all, sometimes these things happen, alright? Nothing to worry about, okay? So, he kind of, like, backs off a little, like, he kind of, like, steps back in the water a little bit to kind of, like, give you room to, I don't know, make your pitch, I suppose.
Alright, Pratt. I want you to know this going in. I do not trust you or your family. I don't know how much of your history if you've done the research, but your grandfather or great however many greats it is, Uriel, he has caused great pain and great suffering for our spiders. For generations we have lived with the consequences of his greed and meanness. That laugh was not in character.
Oh no, I know. It was just you trying to think of the right word for the situation,
Yes.
so that's okay.
You're not
Pratt's just kind of nodding along as you're like spieling to him.
You, Pratt, are no king. You are a conqueror, less than a conqueror. You are conqueror kin. You've just inherited all of this, not even having the strength to take it for yourself. Probably lived a good life, Pratt. I wish I could have had that. I wish my people could have had that. And, well, since you made the offer, I would like to secure something from you. You see, Garcian, the place which we stand is important to us. It is one of our most holy places, and you have desecrated it with a cottage. Nothing was supposed to be built here. It had gone for hundreds of years. Nobody touched it. Until you. And in return, here's what I want. I want a plot of your land for both me and my people. We want to be a sovereign nation. We don't want to be part of Trottalera. We don't trust Trottalera. We trust ourselves because, frankly, for hundreds of years, that's the only person who we could trust. Everyone else hunts us and kills us and treats us like beasts. Ironic, considering you're a beast man. Yet you're given all the honors of anyone else, but yet me, I'm not.
Okay.
So Pratt. That's pretty much what I had to say.
Oh no, we'll cap it off. What were you gonna say?
No, that was, I hadn't come up with anything good to end it on, so I'll just end it with that and wait for Pratt to respond.
Pratt's just kind of like swallowing spit, and he goes, like I said, the sins of the father and all that, and I as king, I'm trying to make up for that. The trolls and there's rat folk as well. Now I didn't even have any idea about them, and I've been helping them out as well. So, if giving back some sovereign land to the Spiderkin is, if that'll help build some bridges, then just call me the bridge master, all right?
All right. How much land are we talking? We need some space for our people. In this glade which we're in, this will return to us.
Okay, yeah, of course.
And the land around, we want that too, so we can be not too far from this place, so we can protect it from the likes of you.
I mean,
your family, I guess.
All right. I mean, it takes a lot of people to make a kingdom, and I guess maybe we'd expect that, maybe you guys could start, coming back into the city again, and, because it's not just, spider folks that I gotta, keep keen. It's, elves and dwarves and orcs and all the beast people and automatons, and, we all gotta be one big happy family, right?
I guess you could say. But can you guarantee that people would treat us as one big happy family?
I feel
or
like
we get the scorn we've always gotten.
I just imagine your guy, even though it's totally not the case, but it reminds me of a film with Michael Douglas in it where he just snaps, and it's just your guy, and he's just walking around with an Uzi in his hand, just I'm having a really bad day here, Pratt. So this is what I want in this very odd hostage situation. But Pratt gulps and he goes, well, of course, I mean, like I said, we can't just be, this isn't the old Trottalera anymore. This isn't Uriel Hemlock's Trottalera or Brennan Hemlock's Trottalera. It's Pratt's Trottalera, and that means that, racist will be racist, but I'm going to do my best to make sure that we can promote diversity and inclusivity.
So, Sylvester's actually sort of surprised. He was not expecting to just like, hash out a deal in 5 minutes to like, he was expecting more pushback with this.
Yeah, I mean, you have got Pratt. I mean, you did take Pratt's girlfriend hostage, and I mean, you have caught him in his underwear, which doesn't help. You did say, though, Garcian, I want to tell you all this, because this is what I'm fighting for. Garcian didn't return in any of that, because he went to go see where where that goblin had got to on the wall.
Yeah, that's true. I was just about to ask if I could check on him, but...
Okay, do you like...
something has gone wrong.
Okay, do you, like, call out for him?
Yeah, like, I'll say, like, oh, sorry, my understudy's been a bit long, I want to check on him. And then, like, Garcian, is he still there?
You get no response.
Well, Pratt, I'm gonna check this out. I guess if you want to as well. It is your house that was being robbed by a goblin.
Okay.
I'm gonna go find Garcian. You can do whatever you want, I guess.
Okay. All right. So
I'll
you're
be back to negotiate soon.
So you're gonna go
details.
You're gonna have a look for Garcian then.
Yes.
Okay. Where do you want to start? Yeah. Do you want to have?
Well,
a look
I guess I'm gonna go back to the place where he was tied up to see if there's any clues as to where he could have gone.
The immediate thing you notice is going around is that goblin is gone. It was able to cut itself out of its binds.
Do they like show any like direction, like where they might have like fallen off? Because they probably take some time to like rub off all the webbing, so that might have fallen in like something and can follow.
You notice that the window next to where they potentially fell has got a broken window and the glass is on the inside of the house.
Okay, I'm gonna look inside the window just to see what's inside before I rush into a potentially bad situation.
Absolutely. Throw 2d6 plus awareness.
That is 8 plus 1, 9.
You do notice that the room is covered in string traps, as in, like, the thing is wired to... Well, the thing is wired to do any sort of thing, but you're not quite sure what.
And, the glass fell in. I guess being as gentle as possible.
You want to try and traverse through the traps.
Yeah, which I imagine is a bit more difficult for someone with 8 arms. Then again, I guess you get used to being nimble with those.
I'll say this. I'll give you +1 on this because you did check and you do know that there are traps in the room.
Yeah, so, I guess I'm going to cautiously... Or actually, couldn't I just go in the front door?
You could also try and go for the front door, absolutely.
I imagine that'll be a lot easier than going in through the... And like, when I open up the front door, I'll look to make sure that there's, like, not string traps there as well.
Okay, so do you want to try and do this carefully, then?
Yeah, like, I'm still being... because, like, for all I know, they could be all over the house.
Okay.
So...
You walk around then to the front door, which leads down a little path to where this water is, where Pratt is like cuddling his concerned girlfriend, and he just looks at you and he goes, "Did you find your friend?"
No. There's someone broke your window and has well, I guess the goblin's still in your house, stealing your stuff. You should probably help me take care of that.
Roll 2d6 plus persuasion.
I got a 10 plus 1.
Okay. Pratt looks at his girlfriend and he goes, I don't know, even though the guy's taking us hostage, I suppose I should help him if there's like another hostage situation going. Listen, I'm not going to put myself in danger, okay? I'll be quick, alright? Susie just kind of nods at him then as Pratt gets out of the water. He hasn't got any clothes to put on, so it's just dripping wet Pratt in his, his swimming bottoms, who's going to help.
So I guess I guess we're gonna go inside. I'm gonna try to be careful.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll tell him like, inside I saw there were some string traps, so watch
God.
your step.
Okay. He stands back then and lets you open the door. So roll 2d6 plus awareness.
I got 6 + 1, 7.
Oh, good. You open the door then and immediately step out of the way as a barrage of arrows flies down the hallway and out the door, missing both you and Pratt, fortunately. But doing this has raised an alarm bell in there.
There could be more than one goblin.
Maybe.
Does it look like there's any other traps in the hallway or like you open up the front door? Is there any more traps in that area, or can we? I guess we'll take our steps, or I'll take my first steps in, and
Okay.
Pratt can follow behind if he wants, I guess.
Oh, sure. No, Pratt will follow behind because you got a pretty good roll on persuasion. You do see down the hallway, yeah, there are more string traps, like, set up down the hallway.
All right. So, do you want me to roll for this?
Do you want to? Why do you want to go straight through them?
No. I mean, I'm gonna be careful with these.
Okay.
How big is this house, by the way, Pratt?
2 stories. You can tell by when you walked around it earlier to see if there was a way in. Probably about 4 big rooms on the bottom floor and 4 big rooms on the top, and there's a hallway in both top and bottom, down the middle of both.
So I guess I'm gonna make my way to try to see, like, the room where the glass was done in.
Okay.
Because that's my best lead.
All right, roll 2d6 and I'll give you +1 for awareness and another +1 because you kind of know what you're in for there.
Oh no. I got snake eyes +2.
Oh boy, well, something always special happens on Snake Eyes. You go down the hallway then, and all the traps, like all the trap wires are kind of like, they're further down so you don't hit any of those. But you do look into the room where the glass was punched in. That is like a sort of like a living room sort of like welcome guest area essentially, but that thing has been torn to shreds as well. Pratt is looking and he's like, oh god, you really did a number in this place, huh?
Oh, I didn't do it. It was the goblins.
Oh no, I didn't say you did it. No, I'm sure whatever these, oh god, why did goblins break into this place? Like I said, I didn't even think anybody knew about it. I mean, I barely knew about it.
I mean, you are rich, so, I mean, if I was a thief, I'd break into your house.
Oh, I guess. It's a nice looking cottage, too. But you kind of, like, pull yourself back then into the hallway where, because you got snake eyes, you and Pratt are now looking at a goblin who has got a, like a, what do they call a crossbow, right? That's like an automatic bow sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
They have got a crossbow in their hand, and this one blows into a whistle to let its goblin brethren know that I have found someone. But it hasn't got off a shot yet.
Well, I guess I'm gonna try something real fast.
Do it.
With 8 arms, I can probably pull away his crossbow and try to restrain him. Well, I mean, restrain him and bite him with my the same thing we did with the birds.
Sure.
Try to put him to sleep for a while.
Okay. We'll do this as one move, but obviously, depending what you get, we'll have to. I'll give you some options, but roll 2d6 and I'll give you +1 for using your silk.
I got 5 + 1, 6.
Oh no.
Oh.
You roll a lasso of silk then, and you do manage to get this goblin by its arm. However, rather than you pulling it towards you, it instinctively yanks it and pulls you towards him and into the wires of the traps in the hallway. Roll 2d6.
10.
Very good. You do trigger the traps, but all those, what they were meant to set off, which were little arrow turrets, they all fly past you. But you are now pulled into the range of this goblin, who drops his crossbow and instead goes for a knife in his pocket. But you have got an opportunity to make a move first.
Yeah, so, I'm going to try restraining and, making sure I don't get hit as well. But yeah, I'm going to try getting this guy.
Cool. Roll 2d6 plus 1 then.
Ooh, that's a 3 plus 1.
Oh,
4.
No. Not very good.
What's Pratt doing during all of this?
Pratt's watching. Pratt isn't sure what to do, really. He's like, oh, God. He is kind of looking over himself because, he had a bit of a situation not so long ago where he had to defend himself in Trottelera Castle, but he was fully clothed for that. He could, he had weapons and stuff to him. This is a bit different, and obviously, his girlfriend is technically in danger in this situation as well, so he's a little bit flustered. If you want to give him some direction, though, you're free to do so.
So I guess as I'm sort of doing this, I'll probably take some damage or something from a previous roll. But I'm like, hey, you're a king. Why don't you get in get in here and help me?
Okay, tell you what
help
then.
Me beat up these goblins.
I'll give you if you roll 2d6, I'll give you +1 for persuasion, and I will give you a number. Basically, rather than defending yourself, you're going to call out to Pratt to help you, and I'll give you another 1 then for that.
Okay, so 2d6 plus 2.
2.
Ooh, that's a 9 plus 2, 11.
Very good. We will add, you do take 1 harm from this, though, as that knife slices down one of your arms, now taking you down to 6 very good limbs, and unfortunately, because you are now on 2 harm, you're now going to get a -1 to future rolls. But you do shout out to Pratt to say, come on, you're a king, do something. He looks around him. There are paintings on the wall of, lovely landscapes and, flowers and stuff like that. He grabs it and, almost like a discus, he throws it, in front of him. The thing pings off the goblin's head that was holding on to you, and that goblin falls to the floor.
Good shot.
Oh, thanks!
I think there's more of them, though.
Yeah.
On guard still. I just took some hits. Do you want to maybe, go
in front.
Lead through? You know the house pretty well.
Roll 2d6 plus persuasion. Actually, but it will also be a -1, so I'll just roll a straight 2d6. Actually, no, I'll give you +1 for this. So, yeah, 2d6 plus 1.
Oof, 4 plus 1, 5.
Pratt kind of puts his hands up and he's like, look, I want to help you spider people out, okay, but I still need to be alive as king to do that. Whoever's next in line probably won't be as nice as me, so, and you did take Susie hostage, so, and he kind of makes a head motion of, no, you're in front.
Alright. I do want to say that the whole hostage thing was a bit of a misunderstanding. I thought you had my Garcian hostage, so,
And as you say that, you kind of pop your head into the one of the rooms that is at the end of the hallway, and you're staring into the kitchen where you see Garcian, who has been bounded up and sat on the kitchen table, and surrounding him are 3 goblins.
Okay. I'm just thinking what to do
go ahead.
here. Pratt, we found Garcian and more goblins.
Oh.
There's 3 of them.
Okay.
So you guys are here to rob the king.
Oh, so like the
Yeah,
goblins
yeah,
know.
yeah. Now I'm referring to the goblins. I'm sort of talking to them a little bit to
Okay,
see.
so the goblins have noticed you, and then rather than like they all kind of like go to arms, but like you kind of put your hands up and you're like, "Oh no, I want to talk. I don't want to fight because you got numbers advantage here, and you've also got Garcian kidnapped."
Yeah, it's a not a great situation for me at the moment.
Okay, but I will say, roll 2d6 and we'll add +1 for persuasion.
Okay. Ooh, that's an 11 plus 1.
Oh boy, that is a big 12 then. So you kind of put your hands up then and you're just like, oh, I just want to, we just want to talk. But you said to them that you're just here to rob the king, right?
Yeah, like, it's like, yeah, you guys are just here to rob the king.
You hear a booming voice behind you who says, "No, this isn't about robbing royalty. This is about making a point."
I turn to face the low voice that's behind me.
There is a goblin shaman behind you who has looks quite aged, which, goblins don't live for that long, usually just because they live such dangerous lifestyles, but this one has got, like, grey in its hair and in its beard, and it is dressed in kind of, like, ceremonial robes. It is moving up to you, and he goes, to think of old days, one of you would walk into this cottage.
Why am I so special at this particular time?
He is moving forward and he is hitting his cane into the floor and he goes, "Don't play dumb with me, Spider-Man. I know all too well what your people did to ours."
Now, being a historian, do I know, like, what he's referring to?
You made a check earlier to see if you knew anything about the goblin tribe that you were looking at. You didn't,
yeah, that's right.
But I will let you roll again with another history check to see if you can squeeze anything else.
That's a 10.
Back
1.
in your younger days, where you were, you still had fluff on you, and, you were so bright-eyed about history and stuff like that, you looked into all sorts of spider history, as much as you could get your hands on. And you managed to find all the history from centuries ago about how Uriel Hemlock moved into this land and, chased all the spiders out who were being controlled by... They were in allegiances with some of the Bradley dwarves. You did find some history from beforehand, though. And originally, this area of what is now known as modern Trottle area was goblin territory. In fact, it was ceremonial sites. Quite a lot of the old rocky extrusions in Trottle area, a lot of people not quite sure what they were. They were lost to time, but you found a little bit of evidence that said that they were channeling stones that goblin shamans were able to use to increase their magic. When you brought this information to Aunt May, she told you to burn it. And she told you that some parts of history have no interest to the spider historians.
Okay. What does Pratt think of all this? But like, is he like reacting to this at all, or is he?
Pratt is totally. Actually, no. Pratt has gone outside and he hasn't returned yet. He's
Okay.
He's noticed something.
So, this is a bit of an awkward situation, I guess, between us goblins and spiders.
Yeah. Yeah, you do see that the goblins in the other room, they're moving a little bit closer to Garcian, who's, like, he's been trying to wiggle free during this whole thing, but he has been struggling. And yeah, that goblin shaman is just moving up to you, and he's like, "Very cheeky of you going up to the hammed-up prince and calling him a conqueror, considering all of my people that all of your people have eaten over the years."
Well, I've sort of written myself into a bit of a weird place here.
You pull on all of your collars. Like, how far is it warm in here, or is it just me?
Well, you seem to be doing at least somewhat well for yourselves. I mean, you're still up on the surface. I don't know if Pratt lets you stick around, but you've got tribes and stuff. Still, ours are all. We have none of our original homelands. In fact, that's why I'm here at the moment.
What? You thought that you were going to cut a deal with Prince Pratt over there to what? Get some ceremonial sight of yours back?
Well, frankly, I didn't even know he was here this morning. But, I'm rolling with whatever I can take.
Ooh, okay. I will say that, like, as you're chatting to this guy, like, he's playing with his staff, but, like, he's not prepared for anything.
Okay.
He does look at you, though, with, like, he kind of, like, closes one eye and, like, pushes the other one out, and he goes, I'd think very carefully about what you're going to do next, because, Pratt's green-skinned girlfriend out there, well, assuming that your distraction paid off, she is nicely tied up on the roof, and, well, if either you or him step out of line, then, she'll go tumbling over. So, how about this, Spider-Man? You and your little friend are going to go back to wherever the hell you came from, and you're going to forget about whatever happened here today, because if anyone has blood rights to this land, it's not you, it's us.
Yeah, this is
It's a bit tricky.
a tricky spot.
A bit of a tricky sit, yeah. The goblins are looking through and they're just kind of like, what do we do? They're just like, what are we doing, boss? What's the plan? And he's just like, well, I'm letting him say what he wants to do.
Maybe we can reach some sort of compromise. We've both been, put at a disadvantage from the status quo. Maybe we have something to gain from, not fighting each other, but instead fighting against the things that have brought us here in the first place. You have things you want. We have things we want. I don't have the power to give you what you want. And frankly, I think killing the girlfriend, that won't end well. He'll just retaliate. It's not a strategically good move. So if I were you, I would maybe call off whatever killing you're planning on doing, and maybe being a bit more reasonable about things.
Roll 2d6. I would give you +1 on persuasion, but I'm going to take a -1 off because of the situation that you're in. So flat 2d6 on this.
That's a 6.
Oh boy. This goblin moves up to you and smiles and he goes, well, you see, I don't think you quite know what we want. Because the reason why we are here is you might want the Moondew Glade as some kind of ceremonial spider site. We want to burn this place to the ground, ashes to all. Any evidence of the people that drove us out of your kind, we want it wiped off the face of the earth. Which is why we're giving you the option of leaving right now, because you're not even going to be involved. in this bargain. You should be very thankful that we're not going to wipe you off the face of the earth right now. So, the option that we're going to give you is this. You can leave with your 8 tails between your legs and tell your spider matriarch that you couldn't find the Moondew Glade, because in a few days' time, there's going to be no evidence that it ever existed. And we'll go back to, well, doing what we can to get revenge on the people who drove us out of Trottelera in the first place. Old Pratt out there, he's just a figurehead. He has nothing to give us. We are doing this because we are sending a message.
A message to whom? A bunch of... Pratt's not going to get any message if you burn this place to the ground. He's just lost a vacation spot. No big deal. I'm sure he has plenty. This will hurt Pratt. Not at all. So,
but
at this point, I'm hoping...
Oh, sure.
I'm stalling a bit. So maybe Pratt comes back. I'm hoping he does.
Okay. So this guy kind of pushes up to you and he goes, "It's not Pratt that I'm sending a message to." And he pokes you in the chest. "It's you and your kind." As the door swings back open and he goes, "Okay, Mr. Goblin, so I realize that you have Susie kidnapped and I'm already in a hostage situation with this guy, so it's a little bit weird to be in like a double hostage situation, so, what are your terms?" He looks at you and then looks at Pratt and he goes, "Simple, Pratt. We'll get these spiders out of your hair and we can hash out whatever kind of deal." And but Pratt looks at you and he goes, "I don't know. I feel pretty sorry about what I've done to these guys. You shouldn't worry your little head, Pratt, considering all the horrible things that they've done to my kind over the years."
Pratt, you just said earlier, you are not your fathers. Prove that to us now. Prove to us that you can be a friend to spider people in our time of need. This is the most important place for all of spider kind. And, well, if you burn this down, you're no better than Uriel or any of your fathers.
Wait, I don't want to burn it down.
Well, they do, and if you go with them and let them do it, they want to burn this place to the ground to send a message to us.
Oh God! All right.
And he kind of looks around. Roll 2d6 plus 1 for persuasion and add another +1 because I don't know. Pratt's got a little bit of time to prepare, I suppose.
That's a 9 plus 2.
There's an oven. Pratt looks around, sees on the other wall there's another painting, and realizing that worked the first time, grabs the painting, throws it like a discus, and it hits the goblin shaman in the head. He does fall over, but he is not conked out. That has alerted the 3 goblins in the kitchen, who have moved away from Garcian, but that has opened an opportunity for you if you want to do something.
Yeah, I'm gonna go So I'm going to make a move to, uncut Garcian as fast as I can. And in doing so, hopefully, the odds will be a bit even if things do come to blows between the goblins and us.
Okay. So you're... So what are you doing?
I'm just cutting out Garcian.
Okay, you want to go help Garcian. Okay, roll 2d6 and we'll add 1 for sidekick.
That's a 7.
Oh, okay. You do manage to get in there then, and you manage to pull tape off Garcian's mouth, and he's like,
"I'm sorry. They got the drop on me, so it just kind of came out of nowhere, and then tied all my arms off, so I didn't know what to do."
Well, I guess it's all right now.
Okay,
but now is not a time that we can afford to fail.
okay, and you cut his binds, letting his arms and legs free, but doing so, one of the goblins that was still in the room turns around, sees what you have done, and they are now moving into attacking range.
Okay. I guess I'm gonna take. Is he coming at me with like a knife or something?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna take a defensive posture, and if he gets close enough, I'm gonna I'm gonna fight him and try disarming him, and pretty much that.
You want to anticipate his attack. Okay.
Yeah, anticipating his attack. Not rushing in to get stabbed, but letting him rush in to get grabbed.
You are hurt at the moment, so I will give you a +1 for awareness, but that just flattens out to a flat 2d6, so...
Alright. And what's Pratt doing during all of this?
Pratt is moving over to fight the other goblins who have moved into the room.
Okay. I got a 10.
Very nice. This goblin lunges their arm forward with the knife in hand that you sidestep out of the way of, and you just want to, what do you want to do with the arm? Do you want to, grab it, or...?
Yeah, just, grab it, stretch it out. With another arm, I can try prying away prying away his dagger, and then, I can try, putting him to sleep with my, mandibles.
I'll say you do that then. So you grab his arm then, and you sink your mandibles into his neck, the poison of which causes him to drop the knife and, go weak at the knees. He's not quite out of the fight yet, but he is starting to slow down from paralysis.
Alright. And I guess then, at that point, now that he's disarmed and all, I might as well, spin him up and web him, just to make sure he doesn't get any ideas.
Okay, roll 2d6 plus silk.
That is a 6 + 1, 7.
Oh, very good. So, yeah, you managed to then web him up, and essentially you have stuck him to the floor. He isn't going to go anywhere. Garcian is looking around for maybe, he's not sure what to do, whether you want to escape or whether you want to still keep fighting the goblins. Garcian's just kind of looking at himself and he's like, I don't know what to do. I'm a small guy. I couldn't fight any of these guys.
I mean, I'm not a trained fighter, Garcian. I didn't think I could fight any of them. Just do your best, but we cannot afford to let these goblins destroy our heritage. And hey, if we help out Pratt, he might be, thankful for us. Because they've invaded his home and filled it with traps. I mean, what would have happened if we didn't show up? He would have opened up the front door and gotten riddled with arrows.
I guess that's true, yeah. Alright.
Roll 2d6 plus sidekick. Plus persuasion, so +2.
That's a 10 + 2.
That's a big 12. Garcian has a look around then, and being in the kitchen, he grabs a pan in one hand and a rolling pin in the other, and he's going to try and, use that for a bit of offense and defense. You look back over your shoulder then, and Pratt is in the midst of, wrestling with the goblin shaman. Two of his boys, one is being knocked out, his eyes are spinning on the floor, and the other one is, he's trying to get a better angle on the two, he's going to try and intercept Pratt. But Pratt's, trying to cover the shaman's mouth because he's trying to shout out to say to kick Susie off the roof. So,
well, I guess I'm like, all right, Garcian, let's go help out Pratt.
All right.
And so we join the fray, and I guess I'll help him with the shaman since that seems to be a pretty pressing issue.
Okay, and what? And you're going to tell Garcian to fight the other goblin?
Yeah, Garcian can fight the other guy.
Okay, we'll do this as 2 moves then. So first things first, 2d6 plus sidekicks. And we'll add another 1 to this because he's got some offense. It's +2.
All right. I rolled a 6 plus how many?
2, so that's an 8. Okay,
All right.
so Garcian and the Goblin are going to kind of keep themselves to themselves then, which gives you time to focus on Pratt and the Goblin Shaman. So roll 2d6.
I rolled a 10.
You rolled a 10. Sorry, I should have asked what did you want to do before making you roll. So
I mean, I was just generally the same thing that I have done with the other goblins.
Okay.
Incapacitate them. In this case, bite him, slow him down.
Okay, I will say this much then. You do manage to get a couple of, you managed to pull the staff off the Goblin Shaman, so he hasn't really got anything to attack back with. But, if you want to get a bite in on him, I will say we'll have to do that as another move to kind of, see if that plays out. But, Pratt is, trying to, knock him against the wall to kind of, knock him out, but Pratt, obviously, he doesn't want to, kill the guy or, hurt him too badly, so he's being a bit of a soft touch with this.
Okay. I'll be like, I see you're trying to knock him out, Pratt. I can just bite him and do that for you.
Oh.
No hitting required.
Okay. Roll 2d6 and we'll +1 for Pratt helping.
7 + 1.
That's another 8. Okay, Pratt pushes this guy into your range then, and let's do another 2d6 roll to see if there's any downsides to this.
I rolled a 10.
There isn't. He basically rolls straight into your, you've already got your fangs, out and ready as, you plunge it into his back, and he kind of hits the floor. He isn't out of the fight yet, but he is kind of paralyzed. And Pratt's just kind of looking down, and he's like, jeez, alright, have you got, a way to, bind these guys up? We probably want to prosecute them.
Yeah, I got silk.
Oh, okay, that's good. Yeah, use that. Pratt looks around to see that Garcian is still in the midst of fighting with the other goblin, and he looks at you and he goes, I really need to go and save Susie, so either you can do that or you can help out your friend. I don't know.
Yeah, you go help Susie. I'll take care of these guys.
Okay. Pratt nods then, and he runs out the front door to try and sort that out. So you are left with fighting a goblin then, as Garcian kind of looks over his shoulder and goes, "Oh my god, you're here to help me!" But the moment he does that, the goblin gets an arm around his neck.
An arm around his neck.
An arm around his spidery neck.
I'm not good at dealing with hostage situations.
You're good at creating them, but not so much diffusing them.
Yeah, I can accidentally create them all day, but getting out of them, a bit tricky.
That's a bit more troublesome. The goblin pulls out a knife and he starts to play with it, and then he points the knife at you and he goes, "One step closer," and he's bird food.
So you say he's playing with the knife, how exactly?
He's got one arm around poor Garcian's neck, and then in his free hand he's flipping it up and down, he's flipping it up, grabbing the handle, flipping it up, grabbing the blade in 2 fingers, and then doing that again and again.
Okay, I'm gonna try something a little bit crazy. I'm gonna pull something from my my backpack. It doesn't matter too much, but I have my explorer's kit, and I'm gonna try hitting the knife out of the air, or at least hitting his arm as he's flipping it up, so he drops it.
Okay. Tell you what then, roll 2d6 and we'll add +1 for exploration gear. I was about to say persuasion, but we'll -1 that because of your harm, so just +1 on this.
Alright. That's a 7 + 1, 8.
That is an 8 then. Okay, you kind of put you put 2 hands up then, and you're just stepping forward, and he's no no sudden movements, but obviously you have more pairs of hands than that. So one of your hands kind of roots through your explorer's gear, and you find some ball bearings. And you're going to use one of those to try and, like, knock the knife out of its hand, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll say that you do so, but by doing so, like, he drops the knife, realizes that you have the advantage, and he pulls, like, Garcian back into the room that he was
like back into another room?
Back into another room that he was standing in front of, yeah.
Okay. Goblins are pretty short. I can probably crawl along the ceiling avoid triggering most of their traps, right?
You probably could do that, yeah.
I might try doing that, and then I can drop onto him from the ceiling.
Okay, roll 2d6 and we'll add +1 for... Oh, actually, I was going to say +1 for spider stuff, but you are still hurt, so we'll say this is a flat 2d6.
Oof, that's a 4.
Oh, that's a 4. Okay, I will say this then. So he pulls Garcian back into the room then, and you decide, right, I'm going to try and, keep up with him. You grab onto the wall, and you start to kind of, pull yourself along it, but you are quite weak from, some of the previous hits that you have unfortunately taken. And as you pull yourself into the room and across the ceiling, you do go, you essentially lose grip and you hit the floor as a result, startling this goblin who, in that moment, lets go of Garcian and seeing that you're on the floor, decides to take an advantage to try and choke you out.
Okay. I mean, he only has 2 arms, so I guess as he's trying to choke me out, I'll just use a couple of my arms
to try and push him off.
Yeah, try pushing him off or choking him off. Trying to get him to, one pair of arms can be prying at his, one can be, and then the other 4 can be trying to get him off. Okay,
roll 2d. This will be a flat 2d6 then, and we can still hit.
Oh my gosh, that's a 3.
Oh no! You do manage to put your arms out to try and push back against him, but he has got a pretty tight grip around your throat. You do take 1 harm from this as a result, as your vision begins to blur, as he is squeezing the air out of your lungs. Garcian's kind of looking at you what should I do, sir?
Garcian, get him off!
Get him off, please, Garcian. 2d6 plus sidekick.
Okay. Oh, that's a 10.
Oh, that is a 10. Okay, then. Garcian has a look around the room. This is a little studio part of the cottage where they did a lot of painting and stuff like that. He sees that there was a vase with flowers set up to paint. He grabs it and he crashes it over the goblin's head, who finally, after all of this palaver, has been knocked out.
I take a moment to regain my composure, I guess while he's knocked out, we should probably take the time to bind them.
You do. Yep.
So we have all the goblins bound up and contained at the moment. So sweet. Pratt's probably still on the roof, right? I guess.
You eventually see Pratt coming back through the front door. He is carrying his girlfriend in a fireman's pose. She's crying on his shoulder because she's been a bit distraught from what was meant to be a lovely afternoon going turning into such a weird double hostage situation. So
a not fun day.
Not a fun day for anybody, really. Pratt's just kind of looking at you guys and he's like, so, is everybody dealt with downstairs?
Fortunately, yes.
All right.
They're all taken care of. So I think we can take a moment and relax just a bit.
You lean on a table and the table collapses.
Oh,
damn
you know,
it.
I catch myself with a couple pairs of arms before I hit the ground.
You like lean against the wall, accidentally setting off a goblin trap where like an arrow just whizzes like right next to your head but doesn't hit you. Oh,
Okay. You know, Pratt, like, I am really sorry about Susie earlier. That was a purely self-defense hostage. I thought, Garcian, I was far away. I do want to apologize for that.
You sure?
I didn't mean to put her in harm's way. These goblins had no right to come into your house and fill it with traps, even though you're right, or your house has no right to be here, I guess.
I guess.
But I guess now that the goblins are taken care of, we can hash out a deal.
He pulls a bit of an awkward face, again, looking at Susie and looking at all the damage that has been wrought in this cottage, and he's like, Can we take a rain check on that? I'm not really in any mood to, sign paperwork today.
Sure, I guess. We can take some take some time. Sort of hard negotiating after a life or death situation, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I need some time to patch up some wounds myself.
Sure.
And I indicate one of my injured arms.
Oh yeah, one of your arms is like pretty badly bruised, and he's like, "Okay, well, if we might be able to get back to the castle before sunset, and hopefully somebody might be able to patch you up. All right."
I guess that works for me.
Okay. As he kind of like awkwardly like shuffles over and kind of, he isn't sure whether to put like a handshake out. I think considering the circumstances he doesn't, but he just kind of gives you a kingly nod and he's like, "I'm gonna go put my clothes on and we'll get going, okay?"
All right.
Okay, Your Majesty, no props. I mean,
Yep.
Conqueror, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a bit,
It's early days, yeah.
it's a bit hard to tell, what's going on at this point.
Garcian just kind of comes up to your, as Pratt leaves, Garcian comes up to you and he's like, we done it then? We got the glade back or what?
Well, things take time, Garcian. Patience, as they say, is a virtue. But, provided nothing too crazy happens, hopefully it will be ours soon.
As both of you kind of look out the window as the sun is beginning to set, and yeah, you kind of notice the mist kicking off the waterfall is starting to sparkle in the way that it used to, when there used to be webbing all over the place. And you kind of think that perhaps, in a weird way, this could be the start of something special.
Best way to start off relationships with hostage situations.
Double hostage situations.
Yeah.
So I guess what I will ask with that then is, because it feels like perhaps for today, Garcian and Sylvester's adventure has come to an end. So what happens next then? Over the next
So I guess they're going to be returning to their kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
To sort of relay what happens, and then presumably the queen will send out some proper negotiators to go deal with Prince Pratt. But while that's all happening, I guess Garcian's feeling pretty proud. For the first time, there's a chance that maybe the spiders won't have to hide anymore.
No.
And he might be a bit distrustful, and I imagine a lot of the spiders are distrustful, but after his experience with Pratt, if he hadn't helped out, that might have gone south.
Of course.
So, I guess he maybe has turned over a bit of a new leaf. He trusts, maybe he's more open to the idea of trusting outsiders now.
Okay.
and I guess he's maybe he goes to the queen and he asks. So I went through all the the work of getting this back, and I know all these old traditions. Maybe I can run the first ceremony that we if we get this back. Would it be okay if I and my assistant had that honor?
I think she'd be more than happy to promise you such an honor. Out of interest, do you mention what happened, in detail when you returned?
Do I mention what happened in detail?
Do you omit certain bits of information?
I think I should mention to the queen the goblins. Because they seemed pretty serious. There's only a couple there, but they might be back.
Absolutely.
And so I think she at the very least she should know about this.
Okay.
And I can I also fill in Prince Pratt on just sort of say hey the goblins are sort of maybe going to be out for us, so
up defense.
Can you maybe keep an eye on whoever this group is?
Oh, sure.
So yeah, I think I will tell the Spider Queen about this and what's going on. So we can at least prepare ourselves if we have to.
Okay. And one last question from me regarding information that you may have got from the goblins. As a historian, do you decide to look any further into what that goblin told you about pre-Spider Trottle era history?
Well, I think a historian who does not chase the truth is a storyteller.
That is very true.
And so, but unfortunately not all stories are truth. So it's his duty as a historian to, it's also piqued his curiosity a bit. Wants to maybe know a bit more about what these goblins are up to.
Okay.
So yeah, I think he will. He will look more into these goblins.
Okay. I will say that you don't tell the queen this because she was already quite angsty when you told her that there were goblins there in the first place. So you kind of do this on the sneak, and I'm not going to say anything because we're going to leave it a mystery still to be solved, but this situation is maybe a bit more complex than the old stories you may have learnt.
Sounds fascinating.
Perhaps one day you will meet with an archaeologist called Roland Ward and perhaps share notes of things that you have discovered, and perhaps maybe together you will be able to piece a truer picture of the history of Trottle era.
That is true. The more we share knowledge, the more we know.
Absolutely.
Sounds a bit obvious, but it's true.
That's very true. And I guess we will leave things there for now. So, Chariot, how did you find your second trip to Trottle era?
I thought that was a very interesting. There were definitely some twists that that I was not expecting. If I could maybe rewind time, maybe might not have done the hostage situation. That might have complicated things a bit too much. I did actually think Garcian was in danger there, though. So I was
sure.
But that's what happens when you make very fast decisions.
Garcian always looks like he's from a distance. He just always looks like he's in danger, but he could just be talking to someone or eating. He's a very I don't know. He's got he has a precious aura around him, is what I will say.
Yeah, he's known Garcian long enough to know that he has to keep a a couple pairs of eyes on him.
Exactly. Garcian wasn't born yesterday, but he was maybe
Yeah.
born like a week ago or like a couple of weeks ago, so you have to be a
I
bit
mean,
more careful around him.
If Garcian died, Sylvester probably would have, he'd never be able to forgive himself.
Absolutely not.
Losing his apprentice on this whole thing, it'd be very sad, and he wouldn't be able to live with that. So
It would be very sad. You would have to have done the spider folk ceremony of when one of theirs passed, where you grab the ceremonial tissue and you put them inside it, and then you put them outside the cave. The large ceremonial glass and piece of paper, and you take that outside the cave.
Yes.
Oh gosh. So I guess with that then, as we reach the end of another episode of Quest and Show, are there any last things you want to say? Any plugs or whatever?
Well, I mean, I mentioned some of this at the start, but I have my golden record video, which will hopefully be coming out fairly soon. That might be pushed back a little bit just for some administrative stuff. But one of the I heard that maybe Hot Cider might be contributing to this.
Oh boy.
To this whole project.
That's true.
Which actually, when this has come out, people will probably already know that because you'll be releasing it on your channel. But
yes.
So if you want to go see Hot Cider's contribution and others, I recommend watching that video when it comes out, which it may or may not be out when, depending on how long this takes to edit.
That's very true.
And go follow the shopkeeper account. Maybe send me
Yes.
a couple shopkeepers. It's very tricky to find. I can, but it takes some time to find new shopkeepers. So I always appreciate it when people send me shopkeepers from whatever game, because I can't play everything. And mostly I've been the one that has had to go in and record the footage and get the screenshots of all these shopkeepers.
Very true.
So those are my two big things.
Great.
If you want to follow what I do, there's also my actual Twitter too,
Yes.
at ChariotRiderYT, where I just post videos of geese or whatever.
Oh yeah, you did. You posted a goose video the other day. It was pretty good.
Yeah, I was just walking and he took off.
He did. He sure did. Fair enough. Well, again, thank you for coming back, ChariotRider, and we hope to have you back again sometime soon.
Oh, it was my pleasure. It was a lot of fun. I wanted to continue, Roland's story, but in a, maybe not by directly following up what he did, but following some of the consequences that might arise from that.
And perhaps when we come back, maybe we can follow up on Sylvester's story, but maybe from a new pair of eyes as well.
Indeed.
Potentially. Well, like I said, thank you again for coming on. And thank you at home for listening. If you are listening to this on a podcast app, please be sure to leave us a review. And if you're listening to this on YouTube, a like and a comment would be fantastic. I would also like to thank the Patreon producers that made this episode possible, which include Chasm, Valerie B, and VG. If you would like to help with the production of episodes of Quest and Show or anything else that I make, please consider supporting me on Patreon over at patreon.com/hotcider. HOTCYDER. Once again, I have been the host and Game Master James, and until next episode, have a good one, and thank you again for listening. Goodbye.